Hi, Laura. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful. And like I mentioned earlier, thank you for being here. So that's going to lead to me saying thank you for investing in yourself, Laura. You see, I say this often because I feel like it is important. And I always make reference to that amazing mango tree. You see, some months ago, I was passing by a particular mango tree, and the tree didn't look beautiful to me because the mango tree's got no fruit on it, no mangoes on the tree, so it didn't really catch my attention. But you see, just recently when I was on that same road, and this time I sighted the mango tree from afar, and it did caught my attention pretty good. And when I moved closer, I was so amazed and I was wowed. Why? Because now the mango tree has got a lot of mangoes on it and they all look very beautiful and I love this. Now the point is the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming who you are today. That alone attracted me to you. You see, while I was going through your profile reading about you, I was amazed and excited because I believe our conversation is going to be insightful. So thank you so very much, Laura, for investing in yourself. I truly appreciate that. And I admire that. That's a good one. And secondly, thank you for being here. Myself and the listeners say thank you.
Well,
Okay.
it's my
So
pleasure.
I
I
am
can
quite,
certainly hope we can have a great conversation that will be valuable to your listeners.
yeah, beautiful. Me too. I do not hope. I firmly believe. And I know that's what's going to happen. You see? Yeah. Okay. So I am quite excited to have you on the show, Laura, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking, because I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, Laura, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, Laura, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. Now, the second reason why I'm excited to have Laura on the show, the amazing Laura on the show, is for the sake of the listeners. Laura, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. How to do this, how to do that, how to. So these folks trust me. I mean, the listeners, they trust me for quality information. And that's why when I came across your profile, reading about you, I realized that our conversation is going to be insightful and valuable. So for that reason, Laura, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We're just so curious. We want to know how you got here. And afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Laura, over to you.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I'm a little ways along my journey, I guess. I'm just, over 50 years in to this journey on Earth. Um, and it's been a journey of service that was first role modeled to me by my parents. So my father was a school teacher, a vice principal. He was very active in his church and giving back to the community. It was very important to him and something that I saw and that I decided to take on in my life. So in my teen years, I was involved in a lot of groups in school that were about to giving back, and then decided to make that my life's purpose. So I started off actually choosing social work as a profession. I counseled people for a number of years, because I've always been passionate, I discovered, about helping people be the best they can be. That's what I want for myself. It's once my husband and I got together and we started our family. That's what I want for my children, is to give them the space and opportunity and guidance sometimes to be the best they can be. And so it's really, I think the world can be a better place if we're all showing up and being the best versions of ourselves in this world. So I started that off in the counseling profession and then made a decision to move into the coaching profession. So now I've been working with small business owners and senior level executives over the past 20 plus years, helping them be the best that they can be. Because there's lots of challenges to building a business, and a business is like a second child or third child for business owners, while they still have their spouses and their children at home and their families, and they're trying to balance serving their community or their world in some way through their company, and also taking care of themselves and taking care of their families. And that can go astray at times because it gets stressful and difficult. And so I show up and really want to help people reconnect with what's most important to them, what's authentic to them, and help them then take actions that are aligned with what's most important to them so that they can be the difference that they want to be in the world. So hopefully that answers your question.
Amazing. Yeah, it did. Amazing. That's a beautiful one. You see, you're talking my talk. Anything related to becoming the best version of yourself, oh man, I just love it. Because for some time, or let me say some years back, I was just living and, just trying to survive. And during the course of those times, tough times for me, I was searching and searching for fulfillment. You see, I just knew that I'm not doing what I needed to be doing at that time. And when I then got to understand that I was born for a particular purpose and that my existence is not just to come pay bills and have kids and do all of these things that they're doing, that I am here for something more deeper than that. You see, when I got that truth, everything changed and it turned around. And now I found myself doing what I was born to do, and I just enjoy doing it. And now it is causing a great impact on the lives of others. So that's why I took it very important that if, for instance, now see Laura, you're doing what you're born to do, and like you mentioned, you're helping folks get stress-free life and help them manage their activities and all of that, bringing the best version of themselves out, and it is helping diverse people. Now, I then said to myself, let's now imagine we've got billions of people living the same way. You see, helping folks and becoming the best version of themselves. And that means you're definitely going to have the utopia world, that world of peace and joy and love. Then I said to myself, I'm definitely going to be out there and let folks know that they are born for something more.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. I love that. And that's a good one you're doing, getting to come across someone with the same vision. That's a good one. I love that. Okay, so let us talk about stress. Yeah. So how can leaders manage stress better? Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. And I think it's leaders need to, we all, whether you're a leader can be a parent, a leader can be a soccer coach, a leader can be a manager in an organization. So a leader is just someone who takes responsibility and accountability for their life. So this doesn't have to be a certain person, really talking to everybody. And I think what we need to understand is that stress isn't the problem, actually. Stress is a symptom of something underlying, and that stress is actually self imposed. It's not a bunch of things, it's not because of our circumstances, it's not because of a bunch of things happening to us that we're stressed. Our stress, our lives are made up of a series of events. Things happen, some wonderful things happen. Our children are born, we get married, wonderful things happen. And then other things happen too that, don't feel so happy at the time. But what happens is with all of these events happening in our lives, they're really just data points. They are things that are happening. Where the stress comes from is what we make those things mean. Because what happens is something happens, an event of some kind or a circumstance of some kind, and then our brain has to make that event mean something. So what happens is we attach a story to what that means. And it's the story that creates, and our reaction to it, that creates the stress. So if we really want to eliminate the stress, what we need to do is eliminate the stories. See events and circumstances just as data points, neutralize them, and then respond in a way that is thoughtful and that can then move us towards our goals and objectives versus staying wrapped up in the stress attached to it. So I realize that might not be the answer you were expecting, but that's really what I've discovered, over the years in many different self-improvement programs and self-development programs that I've done, is that the world is the world and things happen. And if we can remember that they really are they're just events, they're just circumstances, and we can learn to let go of the stories we make up about them, that letting go is what creates freedom and takes the weight off our shoulders and takes the stress away and creates possibility and opportunity for us then to think thoughtfully and make decisions thoughtfully about how we want to address whatever that particular situation is.
Amazing. Okay, that's profound, and I think I got it. So stress is not the problem, it's just a symptom, right?
Absolutely.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, let's move forward. So I feel like there might be some people or someone listening to us and they've got this huge business plan. And you see, they've just been staring at it for months and months and months and they haven't done anything about it. So I want to help them by asking this question. What is the secret to executing a business plan? Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. I have this conversation all the time with my clients. So first step is have the plan, because lots of people don't. A very simple way of thinking about it is have a plan and work your plan. But what does that mean? What does that look like? Working your plan means we obviously, a plan is all about having some goals and objectives. So for example, we're coming to the end of 2024 right now. I am currently working with clients on planning 2025. So what we're doing is we're looking, where do they want to be this time next year? What are their goals and objectives for the whole year of 2025? And we list those goals and objectives. Once we have the goals and objectives listed, so we have to know what we're going to accomplish. So the goals are the what. Then the secret sauce of executing the plan is knowing how and when we're going to execute. So what we have to do is once we have the list of goals, we can't work on them all at once. So we have to prioritize the goals. And so what I do is I work with my clients to decide, okay, I've got 12 goals, for example, and what are the first 4, maybe 3 or 4 that we're going to work on in just the first 3 months of the year. So we prioritize and we decide which goals come first. So we'll choose 3 or 4. So now we know what goals we're working on first. Then we have to we take those goals and we start breaking them down into action steps. How am I going to achieve these goals? And we don't have to plan the whole 12 weeks at once. We only have to plan 1 week at a time. So we'll look at that first week of January, for example, and what's 1 or 2 action steps that we can take that are aligned with achievement of that goal. That's all we have to focus on is those first 1 or 2 action steps. So now we know how we're going to take some steps towards that first goal. The last piece of the puzzle is thinking about when. So then we have to open up our calendars. And it's not just enough to say, I'm going to do this. We have to look into our calendar and decide, okay, on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., this is when I'm doing that action step. so that we block it into our calendars. It's not just something we plan on Monday morning or Sunday night and think sometime during the week I'm going to do that, because that doesn't, the emails show up, the phone calls show up, something will happen and we won't get back to doing our action steps. So we have to plan our goals, break them down into priorities, decide which action steps we're going to take, and then we have to block them into our calendar so we know when we're going to do them. And then we just repeat that exercise every week. What's the next action step I need to take related to the goal? And when am I going to do it during the week? So that's what I mean when I say have a plan and work your plan. That's what keeps us executing consistently.
Wow. Now I see why your client loved you. You know, you've got amazing stuff here. I love that. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about spin selling. What is spin selling and how does it work?
So yeah, we're all kinds of different topics today. So spin selling is actually a book that my husband suggested I read a number of years ago. Because when I first became a coach, I struggled to find clients. I came out of the nonprofit arena where clients were given to me. So my work just showed up on my door, literally. And when I became a coach, I had to go find my own clients. And I had a lot of limiting beliefs and hangups about selling. I thought selling was bad. I thought it was pushy. I thought it was hard. I thought I had to convince people. And my coach training taught me to just deliver a free coaching session and people will automatically see the value and just sign up. And that didn't happen. And so I struggled for quite some time to enroll clients. So Spin Selling is a book written by Neil Rackham. And SPIN is really an acronym. And it's an acronym that I use for structuring my sales conversation. So I'll give you the Coles Notes version. S in SPIN stands for situation. So as we're having a conversation with a prospect or lead, we need to ask questions to understand that person's situation. We need to understand them from their perspective. What are they dealing with? What's going on in their world, personally or professionally? So we want to understand their situation first. Then P stands for pain or problem. I like to use the word challenge. So then we need to ask questions to understand what challenges is this person dealing with right now? What are the pains or problems that they're trying to overcome or that are keeping them stuck? So we need to ask questions in that regard so that the person we're interviewing can really connected to the challenges they're up against. Then the real important question or part of SPIN is the I. I stands for implications if the problems don't get solved. So then we need to ask questions of the person we're interviewing. It's like, okay, I understand your situation. I understand what's going on for you. You've got this company and you're trying to grow it, for example. What are the challenges that you're dealing with? Well, the challenges are that you're having a hard time closing deals. You're having a hard time leading your team. It's like, okay, got it. What are the implications now if these problems don't get solved? Because it's and we really have to help our prospect get in touch and get connected with what's going to happen if this doesn't get fixed. And most people in that kind of conversation will realize, well, my company isn't going to last very long. I'm going to go bankrupt. Or if it's a personal challenge, my life isn't going to go the direction I want it to. And so, because it's the implication that compels the person to want to create a change. So once they're connected with the implication of this, of what's going to happen if the problem does not get solved, then we can move on to the N in SPIN, which is what do they think they need, or what do I see they need that's going to solve the problem and get them where they want to go. So that's how I structure a sales conversation with someone now. I don't try to push. I don't try to convince anybody. I show up wanting to understand their world. understand it from their perspective, understand their situation, their pain, the implications of not solving the pain, and what do they need. And when they have that conversation with me, then I'm able to share, here's what I think you need. And they're usually like, yeah, absolutely. I can see how that's going to work. And they usually become a client. So that's what spin selling is all about. And if someone wants to know more about it, they can watch YouTube videos. They can get the book. It's available on Amazon. It's available as audiobook. It's a great read.
Amazing, yeah. Believe so. Okay, you see, you've blessed us with amazing stuffs today, and I would have to listen to our conversation over and over again. I tell you, very important stuff. So to bring this to an end, Laura, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those who would like to reach out to you, communicate with you, or you've said some amazing things ever since you started talking and it resonated, they would love to learn more. How can that be possible?
So one final thought from everything we've talked about. I think my final thought is I invite your listeners to give themselves permission to be the best that they can be. Give themselves, explore, where you're at and what you want, and find your purpose. I'm going to change that language because I really don't think it's about finding your purpose. Finding your purpose implies that it exists out there and you have to go discover it. And I don't think it's really that case. It's decide what your purpose is. We get to choose our purpose. And sometimes our purpose evolves over time. We might choose to pursue a certain purpose for a period of time, and then we may decide, okay, I feel complete with that. Now I want to pursue a new purpose. So choose a purpose, choose a passion, and a way that you want to contribute to the world. And if stress is getting in your way or weighing you down, start to look at the stories that you're making up that are creating that stress, and consider letting go of the stories, neutralizing them, and just dealing with the events in your life or the circumstances as facts. Because that's going to create freedom to then go on and pursue and do whatever you really want in your life. And if people want to discuss this with me further or explore something with me, I'm always happy to have a conversation. People can find me at my website, which is venturecoaching.ca, because I'm based in Canada. I'm on LinkedIn as Laura Watson, and Facebook the same. I've got a YouTube channel, Venture Coaching International. I've done other podcasts like this. So if they come to my website, they can go to my podcast page and gain some additional learnings. I've got free downloads on my website. So I do want to show up and provide value. My website's probably the best place to find that value. So I really invite people to do so, browse around, and reach out if they wish.
Amazing. I love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Laura. Thank you for coming and thank you for blessing our ears and our minds with these powerful steps. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me today.